Western Jamaica. Unforgettable stories out of Western Jamaica from the scrapbooks of Adrian Freighter. Not many persons have had a gun pointed to their heads and lived to tell the tale about it, as thankfully their attackers' ignorance about firearm usage prevented them from firing the weapon, and in so doing caused them to escape with their lives. Unfortunately, there have been numerous cases of persons who have lost possession of their firearms to criminals who have used it to hurt them. While some have been hurt but escaped with their lives, unfortunately, others have been killed. While many police officers have perished at the hands of criminals, some are among the fortunate few who have faced their own guns and end up walking away with their lives. In a well-publicized case in Jamaica in 2021, a prisoner identified as Ricardo Ricketts was taken to the National Chest Hospital in Kingston after complaining of severe chest pains. After his handcuff was removed, he threw a liquid in the face of one of the policemen and disarmed him of his firearm and then shot him in his belly. He then fled with the weapon. He was recaptured sometime later minus the weapon. He reportedly told investigators that while he wanted to escape, he never wanted to kill the policeman, hence his decision to shoot him in his belly. In this edition of Lest You Forget, I will be looking back at an incident in Westmoreland in which a wanted man used the door of a police car to knock him down and relieve him of his firearm. He pointed the gun at the policeman's head and made several attempts to pull the trigger but failed. Luckily for the policeman, Campbell did not know how to release the safety clip. I will be revisiting that incident from two stories I wrote for The Gleaner. The first story was published on April 23, 1998 under the headline Man on the Run with Cop's Gun, read as follows. 25-year-old Devon Campbell, a wanted man who allegedly took a policeman's gun, pointed at the cop's head and attempted to fire it, is still on the run 4 days after the incident. According to police reports, shortly after 7 a.m. on Sunday, Detective Sergeant Orrel Simpson was driving his private car in Grangeville, Westmoreland, when he saw Campbell, who was wanted by the Westmoreland police on assault and wounding charges. Simpson pulled up alongside Campbell, got out of his car to apprehend him, but according to police reports, Simpson was putting the wanted man in his car when Campbell spun around and swung the car door, knocking the lawman to the ground. Campbell then took Simpson's 9mm pistol, pointed the weapon at his head and pulled the trigger several times. The weapon failed to fire as the safety clip was not released. Campbell reportedly fled the scene, taking the weapon with him. The Era 1 Police High Commanders launched a manhunt for Campbell, who is also known as Jonah and who is of a Godfrey Street address in Grangeville. After Campbell stole the policeman's firearm and fled, he became public enemy number 1 in Westmoreland as the police launched a manhunt for him. With pressure on him, he decided to return the gun, which he did via a relative. The return of the gun was highlighted in a story which was published in The Gleaner on April 28, 1998, under the headline, Cop's Stolen Gun Returned. It read as follows. The firearm which a wanted man took away from a detective sergeant in Westmoreland last week has been returned to the police. However, the man who relieved the lawman of the weapon in a brazen attack is still on the run. The weapon, a 9mm pistol, was returned to the police on Thursday by a relative of 25-year-old Devon Campbell, the man who took away the gun from Detective Sergeant Orrel Simpson. According to police reports, shortly after 7 a.m. last Sunday morning, Detective Simpson, Negro's crime chief, was driving his private car through the town of Grangeville when he spotted Campbell, who he knew was wanted by the Westmoreland police on assault and wounding charges. Simpson was in the process of putting Campbell in the car when the wanted man spun around, swung the car door, knocking the lawman to the ground. Campbell then took the policeman's firearm and pointed it at the lawman's head. After several attempts to discharge the weapon failed, he reportedly pistol whipped the lawman and fled, taking the weapon with him. The gun failed to fire because Campbell had not released its safety clip. A police source said the weapon will be sent to Kingston later this week for a ballistic testing to determine whether or not it was used during the time it was in the hands of Campbell, who is still being sought by the police. Campbell, also known as Junior, is of a Godfrey Street address in Grangeville. He is believed to have fled the area and could be hiding out either in Kingston or St. Catherine. While Detective Simpson must have considered himself more than lucky when Campbell failed to fire the weapon, Campbell too could be counting his lucky stars, as unlike Ricardo Ricketts, who shot the policeman at the National Chest Hospital and was given a substantial prison sentence for it, he appears to have escaped without punishment, as there has never been any report of him being captured. In looking back at that incident in Grangeville, it was most definitely one of those unforgettable stories out of Western Jamaica. Unforgettable stories out of Western Jamaica from the scrapbooks of Adrian Freitas. Before you go, please remember to subscribe.